Hello again everybody. It's Friday, which means it's another one of my stories. Again, I hope you've all had a lovely week. There's been some amazing work being uploaded to Tapestry and on Purple Mash, so well done everybody. So today, I'm going to give you a clue about what my story might be about now. Does anybody recognise this character? I'm sure you all recognise this as Nemo. And my story is not about Nemo today, but it is about another fish. And it's a book called Bright Stanley. And this is written by Matt Buckingham. So Matt Buckingham is the author. And I can see why he's called Bright Stanley. Look how shiny his scales are. So, far below the waves was a little fish called Stanley who lived with his shoal. Now, a shoal, and I'm sure there's somebody in my class would be able to explain this a lot better than me, and you know who you are, but it is the name that we give to a group of fish that stay together because they're friends. They might swim around together a lot. So a group of fish who are friends. They were the brightest, sparkliest fish in the whole of the deep, dark sea. One morning, Stanley woke up rather late. "Gooey, it's me," he called to his friends. But the reef seemed strangely quiet. Suddenly Stanley remembered that today was the day when the shoal swam to cooler waters for the summer. "Jumping jellyfish," he groaned. He hurried to the meeting point as fast as his fins could carry him, but there was no one there. As he looked around, he saw a bright light. Look, it's there in the distance. "Aha! They haven't gone far," he said, and he raced towards it. But it was only a lobster. Here's the lobster, counting his coins. "Go away and don't touch my treasure," the lobster growled, snip-snapping his claws. "But I'm just looking for my friend," said Stanley. "Fish," the lobster grumbled. "Those others were in such a hurry to find someone that they upset my coins." "Others?" cried Stanley. "My friends, you mean?" "Well, go and join them then," said the lobster, pointing grumpily, and Stanley sped off in that direction. Ahead of him, Stanley saw a golden glow. He could just make out a bright, sparkly fish. Oh, there. One of his friends. "Cooey, it's me," he called, swimming even faster. I think he's excited to see his friend. Plunk! Stanley crashed headfirst into something very hard. "Jumping jellyfish," he cried. It wasn't one of his friends at all, but his own reflection in a shiny pearl. Poor Stanley. Stanley rubbed his bumped nose, feeling a little bit dazed, so feeling a bit dizzy and a bit confused. He didn't notice a dark shape coming up behind him. Can you see it? There it is. What do you think it might be, everybody? Let's see if you're right. When he turned around, Stanley found himself staring straight into the mouth of a huge... It's a shark. I think most of you are probably right. Uh-oh, that is a very fierce-looking shark. "Ah!" shrieked Stanley. Over boulders and under weeds he dashed with the shark snipping at his tail. Suddenly Stanley saw a small hole in a rock below. He dived down and wriggled inside just in time, just before he would be gobbled up. That was a close one. Deep inside the cave, Stanley shivered and shook. He felt very sad and very lonely. He was beginning to think he would never see his friends again. Poor Stanley. "Well, I can't stay here forever," he sighed at last, and he poked his head out of the cave to check that the shark had gone. "Jumping jellyfish," he squealed. The sea was a golden orange, sparkling and glittering, just like Stanley's scales. It was the most wonderful sight he had ever seen, because there, in front of him, who do you think it might be? His shoal. "Cooey, it's me," he called. "Stanley," his friend shouted. "Where have you been? We've been looking for you everywhere." And Stanley told them all about his adventures as they all swam off in one bright, sparkly, happy shoal. Well, what a lovely ending to that story. And I'd imagine that's how we're going to feel when we manage to all get back together and see our friends at school. Hopefully it won't be too long, everybody. So have a fabulous weekend. Again, hopefully the sun keeps shining for us, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.